right, it seems like we had a lot of audience questions. Let's get another man. All right, yes, sir.
Yeah, so the question is about the guitar and the guitar gear in specific. So for the guitar nerds out there, he noticed that it's a lot of old stuff. So I think I'm not alone, but a lot of us guitar players like old amplifiers and old weird guitars, and to get that old sound or whatever it is. Just it's like the Muse. You can't ever. It's a constant quest for sound and coolness. So. But he did ask about the stuffing inside the guitar, and this right here is a pair of BVDs from 1984. Tidy Whities, back in the day when I used to wear tidy Whities. And I don't know, I found it really helps the tone. It's the tone I was searching for the whole time. So, but someone else asked about the bass gear, so I think we should address that too. The bass gear, Chris, what's your bass gear? He has giant underwear in there, like this huge pair. Big old boxer shorts.
I don't know. What do you want to know about my gear? What? Pickups. Okay. A lot of people ask this question, and I'm going to tell you the answer, but I wouldn't take it too seriously, because the sound of your instrument has a lot more to do with other things. But I use a pickup that's called the Realist. It's actually called the next after the Realist. He made the Lifeline. Same guy, David Gage, made this thing called the Lifeline. That's what I'm using. Kind of like the Fishman Full Circle. This is really nerdy. Sorry. And then the mic is a DPA, just a really good condenser microphone. It's made like a miniature shotgun mic, so it's a condenser, but it's a little bit more focused, so you can get more gain. I'm not using that right now, by the way. It's not even plugged in, so we're just winging it here. Because if you have a fabulous sound man like our man Daniel Ramirez out there, not only do I give him one pickup, I give him two pickups, which he EQs in different ways, because the upright bass is a very difficult instrument to reproduce, and make it sound natural. And so we use two different pickups, use different ways. We use the microphone as well, because depending on how loud we're playing on stage, or if I'm playing a solo, he can feature the microphone and make it sound more natural. Because anybody who plays acoustic instruments and tries to amplify them learns very quickly that the DI or the pickups that we use to try to make them loud sound terrible. So when you use a microphone if there's not too much loud other things bleeding into the microphone to get a natural tone. So that's what we're attempting to do, and that's why I have all these things attached to the bass. But none of that stuff matters as much as what's in your fingers. Strings make a huge difference. The kind of strings you use, how high the strings are off the neck, things like that. That's really important. Yes, sir. So this young man's asking how old this bass is. It was made in 1920, so soon I hope to celebrate its 100th birthday.
Any other questions? Oh, you're next.
A lot of brothers grow up playing music together, but what was life like for you two growing up in the same house? What was it like in your house growing up?
Well, yeah, musical family. I mean, we have a musical dad. Mom was a poet. Dad was and is a retired biology professor. So we had a scientist and an artist, and Dad also helped him to be a great folk musician. Knows a million folk songs. Used to play around the campfire and such. And,
he was part of that late '50s folk scene in Cambridge. Had a radio show at Harvard. Played with Joan Baez before she got famous. So he was of that era, playing all those songs that all the other folkies were playing, and we grew up hearing a lot of that stuff around the house. But otherwise, a very academic. You know, both of them were sort of these PhDs, intimidating smart people, and we both became music school dropouts. Oh God, it's true.
Along those lines, how did y'all come back around to playing with each other?
Yeah, so Chris and I are 4 years apart. I'm 4 years older, and I left the house a little earlier, but we played music a little bit as teenagers and started to get really excited about it. And then we sort of went our separate ways. My brother moved up to the Northeast, landing in New York City, and I moved to the Southeast, landing in Atlanta, Georgia, and had our own paths. Chris kind of went a little bit more to the jazz thing and New York scene, and played with a group called Medeski Martin Wood, which has influenced all of us over the years. And I went to Atlanta and had a band down there called King Johnson, and that was kind of my passion. And we did that for a good 12 or 15 years before our paths really crossed again, musically. And we just, our two bands actually did a show together, and we just had such a good time. And I got to sit in with Medeski Martin Wood, which was a thrill for me. And Chris and I just immediately had this connection, and we thought, why haven't we been doing this before? And it was just time. It was a good thing because we had sort of gone out and figured out who we were and dumped a little bit of our brotherly baggage and just got back. And so we don't have all the feuding and stuff that some of the brothers.
A lot of brother bands fight.
Yeah.
And people always ask us about that, and our secret was just to wait till you're middle-aged.
Yeah.
And but what was cool about that too is we both, like Oliver said, went out into the world and found our own influences. And I was in New York, like you said, doing sort of a jazz thing among other things. Although we all had the same influences really, but we just sort of expressed it a different way. Oliver's band was real into the roots of blues, but expressing it in all kinds of cool rock and R&B ways. And when we got together, I thought, well, what if Charles Mingus and Robert Johnson started a band? Like, because those are like some of our heroes, you know, it was kind of like fantasy football or something. Like, what if those guys made a band? What would that be like, you know? So that was kind of the spark.
How about one more question? There was eager questions over there. Okay, Red Hat. Favorite sibling band? Sure. That's a tough one. I mean, that's a really tough one. There's Louvin Brothers, the Allman Brothers.
Smothers Brothers.
The Smothers Brothers, good one.
Man, if we could be as funny as the Smother Brothers, we'd be huge.
That's a tough question, but those the ones we mentioned were certainly some favorite. There's even like the Hodges Brothers, who made all the great Memphis music behind Al Green and such. I mean, there's some of them are people you never heard of, but they're brothers, the Louvin Brothers. So, Brothers song. Ooh.
Name a few. Help us out. I'm drawing a blank.
He's not heavy, he's my brother. That's a tough one. We'll have to get back to you. Send us a fax.